nobody really knows why Westerners are more prone to breast cancer. Maybe it's all cancers. I don't really know about that, but it just got me thinking about the culture of busyness, because I just ran into a friend who is also somebody that I sometimes house sit for, and we were talking about me house sitting, and she said something about not wanting to be like so last minute about it, and I said, it's fine, you can be last minute about it. I'm pretty last minute these days. And I was just thinking, I keep a calendar, and if you saw my calendar, it looks completely ridiculous because there's stuff written all over and it's crossed out, but it makes sense to me. There are all these places where it's crossed out and everything's handwritten. I tried to switch to a digital calendar recently. I put everything on my Google Calendar, and found that really looking at the month layout so I can see everything at a glance, like at a monthly glance, really makes a difference to me. And I can't do that on a digital calendar because it's just these little tiny like dots with colors, and it doesn't make any sense. But anyway, I was thinking about, she was like, wow, I don't really like things being last minute. And I said, yeah, I used to be like that too. But now I kind of do a lot of things last minute. And I think it's more that I still put appointments down and schedule times to hang out with friends and do various things, but I feel a lot more spontaneous than I used to be. And also recognizing sometimes things happen and sometimes they don't. I mean, we went tubing and ice skating yesterday, and we were waiting until the last minute to see if, one, we felt like doing it, and two, the weather was okay, and it didn't really feel like something we needed to have planned out. And I guess what it is partly is that also I question the certainties of life. The things that seem certain aren't necessarily always certain, and life is uncertain. So while I think it's important to schedule things and keep a calendar and show up to things on time and do the things that we say we're going to do, all that stuff is really important. I think it's also important to recognize that things are uncertain as well, as we all know. I mean, how many times have you or I said we were going to do something, and then the time came to do it and we didn't want to do it? I mean, many people live in the world of, I don't want to do it, so I'm not going to do it. Everything, or many things they do, is based on wanting to. And that doesn't really work out so well usually, especially if other people are involved. It's another topic, the topic of integrity and doing what we say we'll do. But yeah, this culture of busyness, and isn't it curious how busyness and business are basically spelled the same? I guess the I and the Y are the only difference there. But I've got my attention on that. I'm really trying to dismantle the cult of busyness. Whether it's, there's always something to clean, there's always something to organize, there's always something to do. The to-do list never goes away. We just keep scratching things off and adding things on. So there's no, in my mind, there's really having the intention or the goal to get everything off your to-do list, or get yourself to zero on your inbox, metaphorically and literally, is really sort of an empty goal, because I think, to me, what's more important is to reorient myself around my calendar, around my life, so that I'm actually, and if it takes scheduling, I used to do this, scheduling free time, scheduling in blank periods of time where nothing happens, scheduling in when I'm going to check my email and not checking my email any other time besides that, when I was really very effective around managing my calendar and also really busy with my life, my job, and particulars of my life at that time. I scheduled everything in. I scheduled downtime. I scheduled in nothing time. I scheduled in when I would check my voicemail so that I wouldn't check my voicemail any other time. I mean, I don't live like that now. I'm not. That was kind of more when I was living in the city and I was working for an organization that really supported that level of rigor with one's schedule and one's life. And now that's why I keep a calendar and I don't try to remember anything. I mean, oh my God, remembering. I have a friend coming up to visit and we were talking about her coming. She's coming tomorrow and we were talking about her coming in the late morning. She's coming from the Bay. And I somehow all of a sudden remembered, oh yeah, I've got my reoccurring EMDR appointments on Mondays at 10 o'clock. And yeah, it's written in my calendar, but I hadn't communicated that to her just in terms of our planning when we would meet up. So, I mean, if I didn't have it written in my calendar, I would definitely space it out. I really don't. Number one, I really don't like trying to remember anything, and I don't really appreciate other people trying to remember as well, especially if it involves me. I don't want them to remember. I want them to write it down so that I know it'll happen. Or has a better chance of happening anyway. So anyway, I like to go on tangents when I talk, and I'm thinking about this cult and culture of busyness. I see it a lot more in women than men, but men are definitely not immune to it. How important it is to really have downtime and do nothing and be still and stare out into the sunset, because our to-do list will never go away. And so I think Cancer is helping me prioritize nothingness and the culture of unbusyness as well. What's the opposite of busyness? Stillness? Nothingness? Something like that. Yeah, it's got me thinking about it. It's just so easy. God, I'm really prone to wanting to fill the space with something. If there's space, oh, I gotta fill it. I gotta do something with it. So I have to really go against my nature to combat the culture of busyness. That's what I'm thinking about this morning.